So what made you want to become an actor?
Wow, what a beautiful question. I don't know. I guess I think I just fell in love with acting at a very, very young age. I started with theater, and that was something that was wonderful. And I was the youngest in my family, and so I was always like the comedic character, or, somebody that my family always looked at too and was like, hey, do that song and dance, do that musical. And I had a lot of energy. And so my family, from the get-go, they actually put me into agency and put me into acting and commercials and things of that nature. And then when I got into elementary school, I was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to be normal, and I want to, go to school and do all that. And I did that, and they totally respected that. And for a while I was like, I miss this acting thing. It was just so fun. And so after high school, but well, during high school, I performed in, speech and debate forensics, where I did like an event called dramatic interpretation. And I traveled the world nationally, just, acting and doing those things. I just kind of got back into it. And right after I graduated high school, I kind of just went straight into industry. I studied at the San Francisco Meisner Technique Studio next to the Lucas Gabriel Studio in San Francisco, California. Two years of intensive active training, from script analysis to accent work, impediment work, just everything. And then ever since then, just it's become a love of mine. And yeah, I don't think I can do anything else, even if I wanted to.
And when you look at your life, obviously you got thrown in acting at a very young age. Can you look back now, and especially going through Meisner and whatever else, there's certain points in your life and you go, I almost feel like that happened for a reason that made me a better actress?
Yes, yes. People always told me that, you have something. When I was doing theater, it was always like, no, just keep going. And then, when I went into high school and I did dramatic interpretation, it's like, and I did, win nationally and statewide and stuff like that. And then it became a thing of like, okay, this is what you do. This is who you are. But yeah, it's been something that was crazy for me, because I didn't really get into the acting work until later on. For example, when I was doing high school, that's when I did my first real acting work, I want to say. I was a female firefighter. Rocky Johnson was her name, and she was the first female firefighter in 9/11. And so I really kind of had to dig deep into a role. I never really did that with theater or with anything like that. But that's when I learned about acting and how to find truth in scripts, and really understand how to kind of bring a character to life. And so a lot of the research analysis that I did was I reached out to the actual firefighter, and I asked her what her experience was. I asked, all of these subtle little things. And that was when I really fell in love with the craft of acting. I think before high school and before all of that, it was more just like, okay, you're good in limelight, you're good in all of these things.
What was it about that? What did it give you? Was it like the honor of playing her role and sharing that? Like, what was it about that particularly that really ignited it, do you feel?
Just like the concept of telling somebody's story. That's what it really did. The satisfaction of telling somebody's story, but not only telling it, but telling it truthfully. Because, when you have these certain elements of, for example, when you have these biopics that people play and things, you want to do it authentically as you can. And I think ever since high school and my journey into acting, that was my essence. That was my motive. I want to tell these stories as truthfully as I can. And so that was a whole different playing field, because what I realized is that simultaneously, when you tell stories truthfully, you actually perform more beautifully. Your performance becomes more captivating and more successful and more popular, and all of these things happen simultaneously. And so that is something that I just find so much satisfaction in. And whereas in before, it was just more like, I did my first play was Cinderella. I was a mouse. Yeah, but I was the best mouse. I'm not gonna, like, I was Gus Gus. I don't know if you remember Cinderella, but I was like, you know what, I am going to play the best Gus Gus, and I think maybe that fell in line with like every role because just wanting to do it as authentically as I can is something that was just a part of me always. But it's not until I studied Meisner where the real acting training came in, because then we got scripts where we digged deep. I remember at one point I played a drug addict. At one point I played somebody who had Parkinson's. I played autistic, and those are deep, strong impediments, but you have to give it authentically as you can. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Meisner technique, but we would go out into the world and behave as these people. And so, I would spend 3 months at a time really being a character. So, for example, I was a heroin addict in one script, and I would go onto the bus and I would play as if I was a heroin addict, as if I was drugged out, and I had people actually come up to me and ask me, are you okay? Is do you need help? Or and it was just such a trippy feeling to do that. And I think those experiences just made me fall in love with acting even more. Like I
Like people asking you if you want help.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just something that I don't really see myself not doing in my life.
And for someone who's a new actor, new actress, or someone who's thinking of getting into it, you've shared a little bit of your process. You've just finished shooting San Francisco Bay. From like the moment of I'm applying for this part, what was your process leading up to shooting this film? Like, what is a typical process for you, like month by month? Maybe for any new actors, they're like, am I doing this right? Like, what is that for you?
Yeah, so my process is pretty strategic. It's pretty routine. It's very much aligned with my technique that I learned. So first and foremost, I read the script thoroughly. I look at the characters who I'm acting with, and then I go over who I am. So I figure out who Aparna is. I first understand, what she likes, what she doesn't like. You can definitely ask my husband. I wasn't his wife when I got casted. I was a partner at home, and really understanding. I actually wear glasses in the film. I don't wear glasses in real life, but I started to embody this character as much as I can. And it's tough when, especially when you're typecasted and the character kind of is similar to you, but as much as I could, I tried to separate the two, who I am versus who Aparna is. And really understanding, the essence of the film. So I really had to, talk to Sephra and understand, what her essence was and why she wrote the script, and what the essence of that is, what the motive of that is. And then piece by piece I analyze the script, and so I go over my lines and I think thoroughly, okay, what is Aparna trying to do in this scene? So for example, me and Sierra, we had this, I don't know how much I'm able to talk about. Okay. So yeah, me and Sierra, we have this fight scene where, she's trying her hardest to start this company, and, she kind of gets lost in it. I don't know if any of you guys can relate, but, wanting something so bad that you kind of forget about your friends, you kind of forget about your family. It's just like, this, my goal. And so that was Sierra at a certain point. And so much so that, I broke up with the love of my life for her dream, for her goal. And she kind of, was insensitive about it. And so we had a fight about that. And in each line, I wanted to, like, in each line, there's a doing. What is Aparna doing to Sierra? And so, in certain lines, I'm waking her up, or so I really use my technique in that way. And then not only that, it's not only on screen, but it's off screen. Getting to know Chastity, in real life, and creating a bond in that way. So I talked to her a lot. I befriended her. I wanted to get to know about her friends and her family and her home life, and even my romantic interest, Melvin. Getting them comfortable, because it's not just on screen; it's off screen. You gotta know who you're dealing with off screen, because that's gonna reflect. And so yeah, that's part of my process, and not turning that off. this whole time. So really immersing myself. My husband and my daughter was here, thankfully, to Sephora, and I had to try my hardest to kind of separate the two worlds, so I can stay in character as much as possible. Even on set, when I was with Sierra, during the off scene, I would try not to have fun with her, talk to her as much. If there was a fight scene, because I'm supposed to be angry and mad at her, so, I would distance myself. Or, when we are having a good time, when we are bonding, that's when I allow her, to be giggly and funny and all of those things. So those are some things that are part of my process.
What kind of roles, like, really, now you've got quite a lot of acting under your belt, are you finding the roles that you want to act are changing? Are you feeling a pull towards different genres, different niches, and how has that changed?
Yeah. Oh, I want to expand so much, because especially in the acting industry, we can get typecasted so fast. People look at me and they want to cast me as a certain role. I think that's just how the industry works. But I want to just expand, and I want to just, do different things, and I want to do roles that, break like, I don't know, break stereotypes and all of these other things, because for one, it's fun and it's something that I love to do so much, but for two, it's so important, just to create opportunities for people who look like me. And so yeah, I want to play everything. I really do want to play a Marvel character one day. Yeah, hopefully Superwoman. That's the goal. If they do another remake of Superwoman, that's like the number one.
Yeah. If you could go back and talk to the younger you, any age, 5-year-old you, 10-year-old you, 20-year-old you, like, what would be the most important thing you'd want to tell the younger you?
That's a really good question. I feel like I would want to say so much, but I think the one thing is follow your instinct. Follow your instinct. Just because you'd be surprised at where you're gonna go if you just follow your instinct. And yeah, just follow your instinct, and just don't be afraid. Be fearless. Go with your dream full throttle. Just don't be afraid. And if you want something, want it, and work your A double hockey work it. I don't know if we're allowed to.
No, I say what you want.
Yeah, work your ass off. Work so hard, because people are going to want it more. And also, don't be afraid to be you. I feel like, in this industry, or I feel like even in being successful, we're always following other people, but originality is so tough to find, but so popular and so brave and so infectious and so amazing. And so being you, I've noticed that in my life and in my career, being myself is what people find so fabulous about me and so interesting. And I love that. And I would definitely say, don't be afraid to be yourself. You don't need to be anybody you're not. You don't need to, pretend, and don't be afraid. That's what I would tell myself. Don't be afraid. Yeah.